Good evening and welcome to the Monday, March 20th, 2023 School Board meeting. Please stand for a moment of silence followed by the pledge. Good evening. Tonight we are privileged to have a presentation by Lee Elementary School.
Hello, I'm Lisa Smith and I'm the director of the Safety Patrol at Lee Elementary School. And the captains here, along with some of the other patrollers, have put together a PowerPoint for you, and I'm going to let them take it over and kind of walk you through it. So here we have Lee Elementary School. The Safety Patrol urges everyone to be a good leader. Prior to gaining our positions, we had to undergo some training. We first had to read through the AAA School Safety Patrol Handbook. Along with that, we also had to watch several training videos. We also had to read a series of rules. One of these rules is to obey my teachers and officers of the patrol. An average day as a captain consists of walking through school grounds and checking up on other patrol members. They are located at numerous places, such as the cafeteria door, both indoor hallways, the outside breezeway, and the car drop-off. We all strive to do our best, and through training we've been able to do so.
As a safety patrol member, we have many responsibilities. Some of our responsibilities are monitor halls, make sure kids get around safely without getting hurt, walking your kids to class, make sure everyone is following the rules, help out kids of their car, and so much more.
These are some of the rules. Walk, don't run. Sit in the hall without feet sticking out to prevent tripping. No toys or food out in the hall. Go to breakfast first before going to your hall, and when finished, return to the hall. Level 1 voice, and if it gets too loud, level 0 will be inactive. No arguing or fighting in the hall or outside. If rules are continually broken, the students will be reprimanded by their teacher, Mrs. Smith, Safety Patrol Director, or Ms. Bean if it is a severe matter.
I promise to do my best to report for duty on time, perform my duties faithfully, obey my teachers and officers of the patrol, report dangerous student practices, strive to earn the respect of students, make sure my school and classmates are proud of the way I appear and act on patrol. Dress neatly, dress neatly and on patrol. Oh Lord.
You can come a little closer.
Yeah, you can
come closer.
You're fine, baby.
You're fine. Don't worry about it.
That's fine.
Dress neatly and cleanly. Keep patrol belt clean. Wear it correctly. Be polite. I'm so sorry.
Good job.
I'm Gracie Phillips, captain of the patrol team number 1. Some members of my team are Addison Land, Jan-Trez McQuay, Kenley Daniels, and Riley Mullen.
My name is Nevaeh Fox, and I'm captain of team number 2, and my team consists of Dakota Tootin, Ava Carter, Summer Brown, and Marlene Pendergraft.
My name is Bruce Stinson, and I am captain. My team consists of Mia, Ryan Sweat, Angelica, and Connor Mose.
Come on, Bruce.
Ethan's not here. Captain Ethan Mercer is not here tonight, so he has Cayenne Glenn, Elias Lopez Andres, and Bradley McNichol, Joni Geronos, and Sanchez. These are just some of their jobs that they're performing. Every day they get out there in the early morning cold and everything, and they're doing their jobs to the best of their ability.
In the words of the AAA School Safety Patrol Handbook, the purpose of your patrol is to help teach safe behavior and protect your classmates. And that is exactly what we have set out to do. We help ensure that safety precautions are followed and that we set a good example for the grades below us. We hope that in a few years they will do the same.
And that's our presentation tonight. These are some of my captains, my sixth graders that's done a fine job as they're keeping it rolling for us. And I think it might be on the agenda, but we're going to try to reward them at the end of April with a trip to the bowling alley for all the hard work and showing up on time. So we appreciate it. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming.
A wonderful job.
Very good.
Read very well.
Tonight, we also have a presentation by FSBIT Representative Scott Blazer. Scott is a graduate of the University of New York at Buffalo. He has some designations and licenses. He's a National Board Certified Safety Professional, Florida General Lines Insurance Broker License, Senior Professional in Human Resource, Certified School Risk Manager for Public Entities, National Building Code and National Life Safety Code, Technical Committee member. He has 39 years experience with risk management, safety, and health. Currently, he supervises the insurance operations of FSBIT, including claims, vendors, underwriting, marketing, and risk control. Welcome, Mr. Blazer.
Thank you. I can add 4 more years experience on there because in grammar school I was captain of the school crossing guards. So that's how I got started into safety. So
Okay.
Wow.
I'm going to be giving my cards out shortly.
Exactly. I was
I'm
going to
gonna
say
need-
we're expecting you to mentor one of those children, all of them, and I'm for sure you will be leaving them a donation.
I will be giving them my business cards because I do have to hire some more people here shortly. I just wanted to give a little update of what FSBIT is all about. Y'all, first of all, thank you for being board members. I'm one of the few people that actually knows how difficult the job is, so thank you for doing it. I wanted to give a little presentation to give you an idea of what FSBIT is all about and that you all belong to FSBIT. FSBIT was started back in 1981 by about 6 school districts that were having difficulties getting insurance. They went to the Florida School Boards Association and said, can you help? We can't get insurance. Or we can only get insurance if it's way too high. So the Florida School Boards Association got together with some industry leaders and came up with an insurance trust, which is basically a club that you belong to along with 12 other school districts. You all contribute into the club and you all take the exposures of taking care of the insurance. On our side, we're the administrators of it. We handle all lines except for health. We do have a health division, but that's mainly on the financial side, not really on the Blue Cross Blue Shield kind of thing. So we handle every type of insurance that there is. Everything from workers' compensation to property to cyber to student health. Every single insurance beside health. The 13 members that joined this, that are currently in the trust, have been in the trust for a long time. Back in the 1980s, when we had the 6 original, they pretty much all have stayed in. In the 90s, we've added a few more districts. In the 2000s, we've added a few more. In the last few years, we've added a few more. basically, we're still going by that same mission. Those districts that are having difficulties getting insurance, we try to help them out and bring them into the trust. The last three members that joined were basically having serious problems getting insurance. The last two could not get insurance, and we brought them into the trust and helped them out. One of the missions, beside for helping with the administration of the insurance program, is to try to make it as cost-effective as possible. Unlike for-profit insurance companies or for-profit TPAs or things like that, we don't put any profit in. If there's extra money at the end of the year, it goes back to the districts. The districts are actually our bosses, which is a little bit different than other insurance pools or programs. Your chairman is directly my boss. For anything that she wants, I am supposed to either get, obtain, or do. That's a little bit different for a lot of insurance companies. If you were with like Travelers Insurance Company and you wanted to speak to the CEO, I doubt very much that you'd be able to get a hold of him. With the trust, you have my cell phone number and you have the executive director's phone number, and you can call it 24/7. And I do mean 24/7 because we do get phone calls at 24/7. The pool is controlled by the districts. There's 13 trustees, one from each district, that runs the board, and that board controls the operations of FSBIT. If they control the pricing, the services, just everything that has to do with the program itself. The board is very conservative, which is why we have, most insurance companies have $1 for every dollar that they have for a claim. We have $2 for every dollar that we have in claims. That way we do have that cushion. Prior to the hurricane season, we were giving back to the districts more than $2 million every year. Because of the hurricane damage, some of the general liability claims that we've had, and some very serious workers' compensation claims, money has not been able to be returned like we normally do, but we hope to in the near future to do that. If you turn a couple of pages, you'll be able to see the map of the members. As you can see, we're scattered throughout the state. We work with the smaller to mid-size school districts usually because they don't have their own self-insured departments, like Miami-Dade and Duval have their own insurance inside. Those two lovely individuals there, I noticed I looked really good like the superintendent did. I'll take that later on. But these are the two people that you can call at any time with any questions relative to insurance.
That's true.
And I'm actually going to a school district early tomorrow morning because they have some questions. They're not in the trust, but they have some insurance questions that I'm helping them with. Again, because we work for the Florida School Boards Association, all the school districts in Florida, we assist even though they're not in the program. We do have 5 school districts that want to be in the program right now. It would be a 2-year process for them to get in, so there isn't going to be anybody for at least another couple of years. Unlike other insurance companies who go out and try to market for insurance, we don't go out and market for insurance. Districts come to us if they need help, and they only can join the trust when the board of directors votes them in. So again, it's not like a regular insurance company. Now, you're going to see something here called the trust report card. One of the things we do every year is we do a scorecard of all of our members so that all the other members can see where all the districts are relative to losses and their safety programs. So that's what this is. This is the presentation that was done in July of last year, so that all the members could, actually it's October of last year, so all the members could see where everybody's at. One thing we do caveat every time we do this presentation, if you're on the bad list, don't worry about it. Because when it comes to losses, sometimes it's your turn. And next year you could be the best. Madison has been in the past the best member in FSBIT with the lowest loss ratio. There's your plaque up there. Where you guys were the best within the entire trust with how much you contributed and how low your losses were. So if you look a little bad on this one, don't worry about it. Next year, you're going to get most improved. Okay, on the first one, fleet frequency. What that means is how many accidents you've had with your vehicles. Just the total number, not how bad they were or anything like that. Your total number compared to the other districts. Average being 100%. This is basically a graded on a curve with the rest of the district. As you can see, you had a lower number of frequency when it came to automobiles between the previous year and this year. Gadsden had a whole bunch of bus accidents, if you're wondering what their frequency was. Fleet severity, that is how serious your vehicle accidents are. As you can see, you also was lower in your severity of vehicles. Now, workers' compensation. You'll notice between last year and this year, you had an increase, and you are basically double over the average of the trust. Don't feel too bad about that. It's basically 2 claims that is causing your problems on the severity, and on the frequency, it's a lot of slips and falls, and we are working on those. Liability frequency, that was a reduction in frequency and in severity. Liability is employment practices, slips and falls by visitors, things like that. So trust-wide, on the frequency, you are up mainly because of your workers' compensation. On the severity, you are up because of, again, workers' compensation. And we are doing a little targeting work with Ben to work on that. We have 2 risk control people that have been targeted to help you out with that, and one claims adjuster that you see out here almost monthly, working on getting the people back to work as soon as possible. And your this next slide with the blue and the yellow is basically all the years that you've been with FSBIT right now, going over your frequency and severity. As you can see in the 19 and 20 policy year and the 20 and 21 year, that was when you won your awards and you did really well. We will get you back there soon. Overall, this presentation on the thermometer or the temperature of the trust, it basically goes over what's happening with the trust as a whole. In case you want to know the financial loss ratios, insurance products, and I'm not going to go into specifics here, but last year was a tough year for the trust as a whole. We've gotten hit with a lot of employment practice claims. We got hit with a lot of serious workers' compensation claims. And as you know, 2 of our members were severely damaged during the hurricane that occurred not too long ago. We were able to, I like to say, have a good outcome in that hurricane. When we first had that hurricane, we were looking at over $250 million in losses. Right now, we have a reserve set at $150 million. And we're hoping to actually reduce that even more. We didn't lose a single school, even though one of the buildings was condemned by the county. We were able to get contractors out there, turn it around, and save the school, and it's actually being used right now. So again, we didn't lose any schools. Considering it was the Cat 5 that hit those two districts, it came out pretty well. We are working with the state with some of the issues we're having on the workers' compensation side. And again, we're working with your staff to reduce your workers' compensation. Now, if you want to have any questions as to anything else that FSBIT does, I have a laundry list of things that we do for the district.
Maybe just touch on the contractors that you have readily available in case of an emergency. That might be.
Okay, we've got we try to bring in everything internal as much as possible. We have our own risk control staff, which is basically safety. We have our own claims staff, which means we're not going out to a TPA and getting charged for every time they touch a claim. We have our own bill review department. That means for every medical bill that comes in, we review it to make sure it's correct. By the way, if you get a medical bill from a hospital or a doctor, make sure you review it. Our average right now is 50% what we pay for the bill as opposed to what comes in. We're running at 59.8% right now. So make sure you look at your own personal bills, because there's always coding in there that's wrong, or double billing, or they've already billed you for this, you've already paid it, and it shows up again. We see that a lot. We have our own drone pilots and our own drone equipment. That way, we've already photographed all of your properties, so that if there is any hurricane, tornado, or any other kind of damage, we have it beforehand, and then we'll be able to have it afterwards. We're also reviewing your roofs for any kind of water damage or water leakage through infrared pictures through our drone footage. We have an asset surveyor on staff. Basically, he's going out to every single one of your properties, all the way down to your garbage cans, and identifying them. Because in all likelihood, if you have a big wind, it's not going to be your school you lose. You're going to lose your picnic tables, your garbage cans, your fencing, and all that you don't have a really good handle on what you currently have. So we brought that in-house. Beside for me being a certified human resource specialist, we have a lawyer, actually a lawyer, 2 lawyers, on retainer, so that if your HR department or any of your supervisors or any of you have any questions when it comes to hiring, firing, laying off, anything with employment practices, you can call his cell phone number and get a quick response as to what should I do next. We kind of harp on that all the time. If you're going to do something employee practice-wise, call first. It's always better to call first to find out what you can do and what you can't do. We have that in place. We have a special investigation unit that is approved by the state of Florida that does our investigation work for us. Anytime there's any kind of security, any kind of background check, any kind of surveillance, we use that. We have a slew of nurse case managers assigned throughout the state that if someone's hurt seriously, and it's happened recently for 2 employees, they were at the emergency care the same time the employee showed up to make sure that they're getting the care that they're supposed to get, that there's nothing missing. To make sure that there isn't care not being done because they're not sure who's going to be billed. We want to make sure that they're right there right away. They also are the ones that go around and track the care. Say a doctor said, come back in a month. Our nurse case manager will go to the doctor going, is a month too long? Should you see the person like in a week to make sure that something has changed or something needs to be improved? If a doctor is looking at somebody for 6 months and there's no improvement, again, the nurse case manager goes to the doctor and says, are you a bad doctor, or is this person in serious problems that they're not improving? So that's why we have nurse case managers scattered throughout. We have a slew of lawyers throughout the state that handle anything depending on what we have. We try to specialize our lawyers with, if it's workers' compensation, that they specialize in workers' compensation. If it's slip and fall, specialize in slip and fall. If it's auto. We also have engineering firms around the state that if there's an accident, we can do an accident investigation on an engineering level of any accident to make sure that we're not taking the report of the police department where it could be a sheriff who just wants to get the report done and out and not do a full report accident investigation. So we have that. There's probably 20 or 30 other things that we do. Basically, whatever the board tells us to do, we do. The board wanted training on Title IX. We went to the Title IX Association, came up with a training program. Got all the Title IX people certified in all of our 13 members. We're probably going to be doing that again shortly. Our safe school representatives were doing some training and they needed additional training. We set up the training with the state. I sat on the board for when it first got started to see what kind of training that we could provide, as opposed to having the state, having everybody go up to Tallahassee or everybody going up to Orlando to do the training. If we could maybe do some of it, do it that way. Again, that was something that a board member suggested, and we take suggestions as we got to do it.
Just a little touch on the lessons, the safety lessons.
We basically, if we notice a trend at your district, we will start coming out and saying we need to do some targeted training at your district. We have overall regular training, which is online, which all your employees have access to. You can set up how many classes they need to attend, and actually Madison does a good job of creating that list of what all the employees have to go through. But there may be additional ones. We've got some questions about special needs students, so we got some additional classes set up for that. If there's any, Wednesday, one of our school districts is having a lot of slip and falls in food service. So we're doing a full day presentation for all the food service employees. Basically, because we don't want to pull them all out at once, what we're doing is we're embedding our risk control person there, and they're doing the training staggered so that they don't lose any time or having them all in there at one time. We do that a lot with bus drivers too, because we can't have them all one thing. We also do it on the high end. We do superintendent training. We do board training. So we go on the high and we go in the field. We can do pretty much whatever is needed. And if we don't have the expertise, like Title IX, that's one of the few designations I don't have. So we go out to an expert and bring them in. We've done, actually here, I've done human resource and employment practice training 3 times so far to help out. Usually it's after we've had a bad claim and I need to re-educate everyone, because employment practice is everybody. It's not just human resource. It's everybody that has direct reports. So we do that kind of training as needed. So it's really whatever's needed, we will figure out a way of doing it if we don't already do it in-house. And we're pretty lucky. We have a really good in-house crew when it comes to expertise. We have a former risk manager that works for us. Our executive director is actually a teacher, a vice principal, a principal, a risk manager. I think he's had everything other than custodial. So he knows a lot. We usually try to hire experts. My latest hire is life safety and fire protection. So he's going to start hitting everybody's fire systems here shortly. One other vendor that's really important, and I mentioned it a little bit on the disaster recovery. We have a disaster recovery program in place where we have pre-positioned contractors in place in case there's a disaster. We've already met with your facilities and maintenance people, and we've already started working on that plan. Basically, when the hurricanes hit our 2 districts, our plan started 3 hours after the eye passed. We actually got there before employees of the districts were, and I had to call the superintendent and said, is it okay if we break doors down in order to get in schools? Because we wanted to get the water off, especially the gym floors. We didn't lose any gym floors either, even though all the gym floors had about a foot of water on them. We were able to get the water off and dehumidify over the next 4 days because we were out there so fast, we saved them all. And you all know gym floor is about $350,000.
Yes, we do know. Yeah, we know.
So we've got that in place already, and it's not just for hurricanes. Say you do have a tornado, or you do have a flood, or you do have even a minor fire. You can call me, my claims, or you can go online. Your facilities maintenance people have the number online where they can call, and our team will be out here within hours. And that was something that was asked for, and so we set it up.
Thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions?
And if you do,
Yeah.
You have your card.
I am going to give you my cell phone number. And it is on here because that's usually when we get our phone calls.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You can keep
Thank
it.
you.
I'll aggravate the chairman and the superintendent.
Thank you.
You should already have it.
I have it, but I'll
We
take
can't do
another one.
nothing anyway, unless we aggravate the chairman and the superintendent.
And thank you again for serving. And again, if you do have questions, please don't hesitate.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
for coming over.
Don't
We
forget to leave
appreciate
that
it.
donation for those 5 people.
I'm gonna get more than that.
Bye-bye.
I'm offering them jobs.
But you know, if you're gonna give them a job, you gotta give them that upfront money to relocate and do some of that stuff.
Well, they don't have to relocate. I need them here.
But that's what I'm saying, some work money before.
And I can get them to go to Buffalo. When they said, go out in the cold,
Some
when
prep-
I was on patrol, it was cold.
Some of that preparation money.
That's cold weather up there.
That's just the snow was this high we were walking through.
Oh
my
Thank you
goodness.
very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Bye-bye. Amendments to the agenda, I don't think we have any
Get that money.
amendments tonight.
None.
At this point, we'll adopt the agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt tonight's agenda?
I move to adopt the agenda.
We have a motion by Mr. Carroll, second.
I second.
Second by Ms. Knight. All in favor? Becky, 5-0. Public comment? Thank you.
And ahead.
Okay, we have Annette Jones, Stallnaker.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Hope everybody's doing good this evening. I thank you for your time to be able to listen to me. I want to talk about transparency. Thank you, Ms. Joseph, for meeting with me this morning to discuss an issue that I have with the boy that I'm raising. That a teacher was removed on the 10th with no warning. And this class, he's in 3rd grade in Lee, and he's had issues since the second quarter, because the first quarter they had a real teacher in there. The second quarter they had a paraprofessional as well as a ESC teacher in there. And my boy suffered because of that. His grades dropped. And then they put Miss Davis in there, and she had the kids doing more assignments than they did in the second quarter, and his grades improved because of it. She was very transparent with me. She would meet with me. I could call her after school if Jason didn't remember what the story they had to read was. Very helpful. During the second quarter, I reached out to the paraprofessional, Miss Pickles, Casey Pickles, and I did not get any answer back. By the time that we had an issue at the end of the second quarter with the ESE teacher and the testing, it was already too late to get help, and we were trying to figure out what was going on. And that's when Miss Casey took over the class, because there was an assignment that was missing. They didn't know where it was. They don't know if he took it. He had a 0 because of it. It was affecting his grade. On the second quarter in social studies, he actually went from an A in the first quarter down to a D in the second quarter. A lot of parents complained and went to the school because they had the same issue of why all of a sudden their kids in the second quarter suffered. And they only did 5 assignments and 1 test in 9 weeks in social studies. And because of that, he failed the test and it suffered his grade. They removed the test from it because it was 60% of his grade, and his grade went to an A, but he didn't earn that A because he didn't get the assignment. So it wasn't just him that suffered in the class, it was multiple kids that suffered in the class because they missed out on learning what they should have learned in the 9 weeks. I also have copies here, if you want to pass it around, that shows when they had a real teacher, to the second quarter when they had the paraprofessional ESE teacher, and his grades dropped, to the third quarter where you can see the assignment difference in social studies as well as the grades coming up in all categories. Would anybody like the copy? Okay.
We have those problems at all the schools.
Yeah. Also, he started off, he has a disability and behavioral issues, and I've been working with him since the beginning of the year.
Has he been tested?
Yes, that's the FAST test. He was a level 1, and at the end, on the second one in December, he went from level 1 in math to level 4 with me working with him. And then he went from reading, he almost made level 2 by 9 points. He missed it. So I feel confident he's going to be probably a high number 2, if not.
Does he have an EIP?
He does have an IEP. I spoke to Miss Ritchie's today as well, to make sure that if he starts sliding again, what are our options to make sure that he gets the extra help. He did go to school today. They had 2 stories that they had to study right before spring break hit, and a weekly reader to read. And so he studied hard for that and went to school today, and none of the tests were done. Instead, they sent home a packet of spelling words that he had already done before and never got tested on. And then they sent home a new weekly reader for him to do, and he hasn't even tested on the weekly reader for the
Well,
last time.
thank you very much, Ms. Stallnaker.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Keep up with your child.
I will.
You want to get these? You need.
Number 4, consent agenda items. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda items?
I move to approve the consent agenda items.
We have a motion by Ms. Thompson, second.
I second.
Second by Ms. Knight. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Becky, 5-0. 5 items for individual consideration. 5.1, personnel changes. Mr. Killingsworth.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I was thinking we might get the opportunity to discuss some on 4.3, but I guess y'all had enough of that the other day, so we will go right on into personnel. This evening, I have 4 names. Right now, it has listed on there 5, but the bottom name, Ms. Davis, Cheyenne Davis, if you would please remove her name from your list. We've rescinded that. However, you have 1 from the district, Ms. Brittany, which was the transportation secretary, has resigned. Ms. Hollingsworth, which was one of the ones who had accepted a position at Central, ended up never coming. So we ended up having to remove that. And then we have Ms. Starr from Pinetta. She has resigned, as well as Ms. Yasmin from the high school, which she was newly, they had moved up from down the state. They actually lived up in Georgia. So short version is she got a job up in Georgia. Also, I have 4 names on the back list on the substitute list. Allen for substitute teacher para, Fulmer and Cooks for sub-bus monitors, and Rashonda Randall for food service custodian, to ask for your permission for approval on those and acceptance on the 4 names for our resignations.
Do we have a motion to approve the personnel changes with the exception of Cheyenne Davis? Also the substitute teachers.
Madam Chair, I move to accept all of the personnel changes as listed.
We have a motion by Ms. Knight. Second.
I second it.
Second by Mr. Carroll. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. Becky, 5-0.
Thank you.
5.2, thank you, Mr. Killingsworth. 5.2 network upgrade, Mr. Goyette.
Hello.
No.
We've got on 5.2 is upgrade to all of the wireless and the core network gear at all 5 schools. The total cost for this part of it is just under $450,000. This is budgeted in the COVID ARP money, so it's coming out of that.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Goya. Do we have a motion to approve the network upgrade?
I move to approve the network upgrade.
We have a motion by Mr. Carroll, second.
I second.
Second by Ms. Knight. Any discussion?
We gotta have all that stuff nowadays, don't we?
Yep.
Yep, and the labor costs more than the material.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. Becky, 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Goya. Oh, you're not through yet.
Yeah.
5.3 fiber contract, Mr. Goya.
So this is a contract, there's a piece of fiber that connects the central school to the high school for the network. It's actually owned by Southeastern Services, and we do a long-term lease on it through E-rate. So we only pay 90% of this cost, but in our contract is up, so this is just a renewal, because E-rate requires us to have a contract on it, so that's what this is for. It's a 5-year contract. For total monthly cost of $460. Of that, we only pay 90%, or we only pay 10% of that.
We pay 10%.
E-rate pays the rest.
Yes, go ahead.
This isn't like in a contract form. It doesn't like have a place to sign or any of that kind of stuff. Is there another document?
No, it does not. This is similar to what was done last time. It just, I'll find out why there's not a signature on it. But.
I mean, it's not a lot of money. I mean, I wouldn't hold up the circus because of that, but it's just, we do normally, if we're going to do a contract,
Yes.
it needs to be something signed.
So you'll look into that, Mr. Goya?
Yeah, I'll get back with them and see.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the fiber contract? Excuse me.
I move to approve the fiber contract.
We have a motion by Mr. Carroll, second.
I second.
Second by Ms. Thompson. Any discussion, questions?
And actually, what does that do?
So this is the fiber's glass tubing that carries the signal between the central and the high school, connects them together on the network. So it's underground cable. This was put in about 5 or 6 years ago, and we decided not to own it ourselves because it's extremely expensive to replace when it gets broken. So this is, really it was more cost effective to do it this way. As well, E-rate paid for 90% of the install.
Okay.
So it was more cost effective to do it this way and just do a long-term lease than to own it ourselves.
Thank you, Mr. Goya. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Becky, 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Goya. 5.4 joint use agreement. Mr.
Joseph, Ms. Joseph.
Ms. Joseph?
Okay, on the 5.4 joint use agreement, I need to do one correction on that joint use agreement. Roman number 2B, It says MCSB responsibilities, that should be Boris King responsibilities. And basically, they're using us for transportation to go to Tallahassee, and they are paying.
Thank you, Mrs. Joseph.
Thank you for pointing that out, too.
Yeah, it's, well, I thought maybe there might be something there, okay. Do we have a motion to approve the joint use agreement with the changes that Mrs. Joseph stated?
I move we approve the joint use agreement with the changes that Ms. Joseph stated.
We have a motion by Mr. Carroll, second.
I second.
Second by Ms. Knight. Any discussion or questions?
I know that that organization does some good things.
Yes.
Marvin, Matera, they do some great things for kids, and
Right.
proud of him.
Thank you, Mr. Carroll. All those in favor? Becky, 5-0. 5.5, purchase of buses, Ms. Rainick. You didn't know you were going to be on stage.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We have an opportunity in June of 2021, or 2022, you authorized us to buy 3 more buses. And we put the order in for the 3 buses at that time. We're still waiting for the buses. There are some districts in South and Central Florida that way over purchased buses. So they have some buses that are available that are there on the lot that we can actually buy. The prices, they have a few more things in them that we did not order, like backup cameras. So the price is a little bit different. It's like from $124 to $135, something like that. It's not extreme difference, but we're asking permission to go ahead and purchase now the ones we can get in now versus waiting for the ones that we had on order.
Now, how does this affect our order that we had, that we put in?
Well, we had anticipated, in that order, one of them was an ESE bus. It was a 40 passenger, I think 44 passenger, and it has all the rigging. So we still want to get that one. The other 2 buses, they have no idea when the other 2 buses will be ready. So we want to get these buses now. And then if in fact, we need the other 2 when they come due, or we can then cancel the order like they did when the bigger districts ordered 40 of them at a time, and they said, oh, we only need 30. So that's the opportunity we have right now, is to buy those buses at a little more than what you budgeted for, but get them now instead of waiting. Right now we have, and Ms. Joseph, please correct me if I'm wrong, I think we only have a few buses that we would be roadworthy enough to take trips out of town, to Orlando and to other places. So we want to make sure that we have enough buses to do that.
We do not have any spare buses right now, but this would be this still wouldn't give us any spare buses because but it would get us closer to where we need to be. And this is coming out of ARP, am I correct? Okay.
And I really think we really do need all that extra equipment that they're putting on. I was reading all that extra stuff they was putting on.
That backup camera is really.
Exactly. And you know, all these cars that we're driving now has that information and all those extras. And these are precious resources, our children's. So,
I agree.
Agree. Do we have a motion to purchase, for the purchase of buses?
I move to purchase.
We have a motion by Ms. Thompson, second. Second by Ms. Hagan. Any questions or discussion?
I do have a question. I just want to clarify, how many buses are we purchasing since the
I
van
think
is
it's
still
2.
on?
That was I think 2 right now.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
what we're looking
So
at
we're
right now.
buying 2 buses at this
At
rate?
the-
that are-
And plus, we'll have the other one coming.
At the price included in the
At
package.
the price included in that
by
package,
the
yeah.
time them other buses become available, they're gonna be even more.
That's what they told us. They said even the ones that we have on order that we got for like 123, 124, by the time they come in, they will have had to raise the price anyhow.
Well, then,
And believe me, I just got a new vehicle after many, 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 many years, and I'm darn near blind when it comes to turning around, so that backup camera's a nice
oh, it's
feature.
wonderful. Yes, it is.
Can I ask
Yes, go ahead.
And so we still have the ability to cancel the other buses.
yes.
So this
Okay.
motion doesn't need to be to cancel the other buses, because we can do that later.
Right.
Okay.
But we're going to get the one ESE bus from that group.
The one ESE bus, we special ordered, so we'll still get that
Okay.
bus in.
And if we
All
have
right.
enough money left out of ARP, we still may get the other two buses, but right now, we don't have that amount budgeted.
Any further discussion?
Well, my question was kind of along the same lines. We're not under any contract for those other buses. Okay, that's all.
And we haven't given them any money.
Okay.
No money, so,
All right.
okay. All in favor of purchase of buses? Thank you. Becky, 5-0. Thank you, Ms. Rainick.
Thank you.
5.6, travel, Ms. Joseph.
Okay, Madam Chair, we have one summer staff trip that we need planned to get approved. This is to the FDLE Summer Institute, the BSI Summer Institute, and they have suggested the persons that will be attending, and this will be paid for out of Title II, the ARP grant, and UNICEF grant.
Thank you, Ms. Joseph. Do we have a motion to approve the travel?
Madam Chair, I move to make a motion to approve travel.
We have a motion by Ms. Knight, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Carroll. Any questions, discussion?
It looks like, are these mostly the principals?
It's more than principals, it's your instructional
Okay.
coaches also, and it's some district personnel also.
Okay.
Now, what kind of meeting you say this is?
This is your Bureau of School Improvement Summer Institute.
Y'all don't send a school board member with that?
They didn't suggest a school member attend. They gave us suggestions of person they want to attend.
And you did say the magic word suggestion.
Yep. And these are the slots.
So if a school board member wanted to go, they could go.
Not necessarily, we have the guy request another slot.
But you said that was a suggestion. They don't run us through suggestions. That was just a suggestion.
Any more discussion?
So, I'm sorry, I was just gonna ask.
Go ahead.
The Summer Institute, the conference is suggesting these people.
Okay, these are the schools that are in school improvement.
Okay, I
Okay,
gotcha.
these are the schools that's attending, and they need,
We have to go over this.
they need a
So
certain.
I could see a school board member in the initial meeting. We have to go over this. All these things will come before us.
Any more
And this is a
discussion?
mess.
All those in favor of the travel, raise your hand. Opposed? Becky, 4-1. 5.7, field trips, Ms. Joseph.
Okay, these are the student field trips. We've got several. And one thing I need you to note, I'm not asking for approval of any school trips that's non-academic before testing. So if somebody come to you, they want to go, say Ms. Joseph did not put their trip on to go to Legoland, it wasn't education, and I think we need to have them here in town preparing for the test at school. So I have this, I'm not put a trip on here for Legoland. Okay, the FFA is, and that is class related, that's going to Chiefland on, that's just 4 students, on March 30th. The Power and Energy class, they're going to Tallahassee, and that's a class on March 14th. And the band is going to ABAC on sometime, April 20th. He always puts a lot of stuff in there. And Lease Safety Patrol is on the 28th. They're going to Bowling. And those are all the student trips that's being requested at this time.
Ms. Joseph, you
Yes,
said that, and I understand that academic stuff, but did you let the people know so that they won't be calling us?
Yes, I have let them know. Now, I can't stop them from calling you, but I have informed them.
Yes,
And
no,
I
that was
will
the-
inform
that was
them
the
again
answer,
at
yes
board
or no. Have you let them know? So they are aware.
They are aware.
Okay.
Do we have a motion to approve the field trips?
I move to approve the field trips.
We have a motion by Mr. Carroll, second.
I second the motion.
Second by Ms. Thompson. Any questions or discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Becky, 5-0. 5.8, digitization of student records. I said that word.
You should have a contract in your materials for getting some of our older CUME folders digitized. We started this process a while ago, actually when Mr. Andy Barnes was here. We got about halfway through and we ran out of money. We have the money right now to be able to finish it. It's actually costing us money for the company to house the records, because every time we need to get a student record that's in that, I think there are 24 boxes of records that they still have. We have to pay them to get the records and send them to us digitally. So we would like to go ahead and get those digitized so that we have access to all of our former students' records here at the district level.
Thank you, Mrs. Hill. Do we have a motion to approve the digitization of student records?
I move to approve the whatever that word
I hear you, I had a hard time too.
That's a mouthful.
Digitization of the student records.
We have a motion by Mr. Carroll, second.
I second.
Second by Ms. Knight. Any questions or discussion?
I do have
Go
a
ahead.
question. So, just to be clear on here, when we're making our approval, there's different options on here for, what plan we're going with. So are we going to be, paying this full amount and getting it all done and over with?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going for, and then there's no fees associated after.
That's
So we'll
correct.
have it, we own it, we're done.
That's right.
And where are these funds coming from?
These are coming from our ESSER funds.
And how far back do we have records, just out of curiosity?
Well, now, I have records in my office on microfiche that go all the way back to probably the 30s and 40s.
Oh, okay. So this will encompass all of this?
Well,
or-
no,
No.
the
okay.
ones from, on microfiche, we have access to
We
those
have- okay.
physically.
Right.
The records that we are trying to get digitized are probably from 1980 to
Okay.
2000.
1980. Mhm.
No?
The ones that we're getting digitized that they have right now
Uh-huh.
are probably from about 1940s through the 1989. Anything
Gotcha.
after 1989 is already,
They're already digitized because we were electronic by that point.
Okay. Thank you for that information,
I'm in
Mrs.
that
Hill.
bunch.
Mr. Reeves has questions.
Yes, Mr. Reeves?
What's happening to the paper? Are they shredding it or?
They will shred them after they digitize them.
Got it.
Any more discussion?
This is not, just out of curiosity, what are we legally required, for how long to keep these records?
Forever.
I mean, that's just,
Because
You have
if we
people
people
from
come
way
up here
back asking for their transcripts.
Okay. I didn't know if there was a legal.
Going to another job and they need verification that they have.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah, I've had to produce transcripts for people back in the 50s, 40s, and 50s.
Is they're still
And
working?
some of them
and-
use this for, insurance purposes and.
That's correct.
And to verify for social security, to get their social security and all that stuff.
Yeah.
My brother had to come up here, and he's 72 years old. He had to come 3 years ago.
Right,
Get his name verified, the way that was on the school record.
right.
Do we have plans to get the microfilm digitized? Because that'd be nice to have all of that in one digital format.
Well, part of these records we have on microfiche, they are also in what we're trying to get digitized.
Social security.
Yeah.
Any more questions? All those in favor? Becky, 5-0. Thank you, Mrs. Hill. Other items of interest, Mrs. Joseph?
Okay, I'm going to ask Ms. Hill to come back up because during spring break, the robotics teams went on competition, and I'm just so elated and so proud of their work. And so I think we need to advertise that and showcase them as much as possible.
Yeah, we had a group of students from the high school's robotics team that went down to Tampa for the state robotics tournament. It was the first time we've ever sent a team to the state tournament, and they did really well. They did not win, but it was their first time going. They learned a lot. I was amazed at what I saw at the tournament for all students, not just, you know, our students, but it is one of those competitions where they do not allow adults to influence what is happening. The students have to make all the decisions, all the repairs, all the adjustments to their robots without the adults actually doing it for them. During the matches, they have to do it on their own. The adults have to sit in the stands. And so it is a lot of critical thinking skills, a lot of problem solving has to happen. And so we actually, our whole team happened to be guys, and I was very proud of them, proud of how they represented our district. They were very well behaved, very gentlemanly the whole time, and you would be very proud of the team that represented you.
And I was proud when they came up here.
Yes.
Okay, the type of students that will make up the team?
Because it is a class, actually the group that came up here was the Beta Club members of the robotics team. The group that went to compete down in Tampa, not all of them are in Beta Club. There is a wide variety of students. There are students that have disabilities that participate, and it was just amazing to see how they shine in that arena.
Because sometimes we can have a child with IEP.
Yes, ma'am.
And they shine in one subject so strong.
Yep.
That
there were several of our students with disabilities that are part of that team and really do well at that. And so I'm glad that Ms. Good just really got that started, and the high school is really pushing that, because it gives students who may not be athletes or may not be Beta Club members or a place to excel.
That's right.
Just to make sure everyone caught that, let's give recognition to the teacher at the high school also.
Right, yeah, because, I mean, Ms. Goodge we started robotics, about 4 years ago, or 5 years ago, and she's really, made that program one that anybody can succeed in. And so it's pretty amazing to me.
Thank you, Mrs. Hill.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ms. Joseph?
A couple other things. I'm going to send a couple of handouts down to you. This is about our FB, Florida School Board, FSBA and dues renewal. And if you see on the second page, it says it's voluntarily, so if you do not want to be a member of the association, let Ms. Bishop know. But that's what we pay each year for the annual dues. Okay, the next thing is, we talked about this one at our workshop. They're going to have regional FSBA meetings, and they're going to have one in Chipley on April 20th. And you should be receiving an email about this. And what I've done, it's not mandatory that we have it, but right now I have reserved a vehicle so all of y'all can go together if you choose to. And one other thing is that report cards will be going out March 22nd.
Thank you, Ms. Joseph.
Okay?
Mr. Reeves?
And we talked a little bit about this earlier, the redistricting. We should have the different options they're preparing, should be able to email those out to y'all. And we're trying to set up the joint meeting still. We hadn't gotten that set up, but I expect to get that set up in the next couple of days. The different options, again, are to move the lines of of the school board member and county commissioner districts. This isn't the attendance zones for the schools. This is the districts where you all have to reside in order to run for District 1 or District 2, et cetera. When you look at those, to the extent you have questions or whatever, please call me. Trying to set those up, is all kind of a mathematical equation here. And so if you want to, the lines are not set. Well, the lines are set by you all. So you all have the discretion on how you want to set them. But if you want to move a line, then you're going to have to move the other line out a little bit, to make it all work. So it's going to take some trial and error to get those the way y'all want them. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Reeves.
Yes, ma'am.
Tonight, we have Miss Zoe O'Neill from Madison County High School. We're happy to have you tonight. Can you give us a couple words about the high school?
You can tell us something about you. What did you just win?
I was one grand champion of the livestock show.
Well, congratulations.
And everything working along well at high school?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, that's all we have to say.
We're happy to see you tonight.
Don't be afraid, stand up and say it.
Ms. Knight?
So I just want to say thank you to Lee Safety Patrol and Mr. Scott Blazer for your presentation this evening. I took some notes for a brief travel report for our new school board member training and for our day in the legislature. New board member training is always very valuable and ensures us to be successful board members. And I took a lot of notes from this session. The days in the Capitol were very insightful and refreshing. We were able to meet with many of the House and Senate representatives and to hear how much they really do understand the struggles that the education system is suffering from right now was just very, very refreshing. So they know, and they're working on it. So that was very exciting. We made connections with Jason Scho, Fred Hawkins, Ralph Mazzulio, and the Education Commissioner, Manny Diaz. We spent some valuable time with Miss Mary Keene, who is the principal of River Oak Technical College. And I'm very excited for the growth and programs that are going to be coming for their CTE program for our students here. And I just want to continue to encourage the parents to show up tonight. Thank you, Annette, for coming. And come give us feedback, whether it's good or bad. That's how we improve. And the teachers and the schools and the district need you to be involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Knight. Ms. Thompson?
I will also echo what Katie said. We had a wonderful week in Tallahassee. Learned a lot at the second part of our new school board member training. We, like she said, met with State Representative Jason Schoaf, Representative Ralph Mazzullo, Representative Fred Hawkins, and the State Education Commissioner, Manny Diaz Jr. They were all very receptive to our questions and concerns about small districts, and I am very hopeful that things are going to move in the right direction to continue to have support on the state level for our small and rural counties. I also would like to thank Suwannee County and Taylor County for welcoming us to go along with them at Day in the Legislature. They kind of took us under their wing and showed Katie and I the ropes because it was our first time at the Capitol. We walked a lot of miles from the Senate to the, from Senate to Congress and up and down the elevator of the Capitol. But it was a wonderful experience, and I took a lot away from that. And so I would like to thank them. I also would like to thank the MCHS Culinary Department for providing a wonderful meal for our board on March the 9th for our master board training. It was delicious, and I love chicken salad, and that was the best. I would like to thank Zoe O'Neill, our student representative, for being here tonight, and congratulations on your grand champion win.
Mr. Carroll? Thank you, Ms. Thompson.
Oh, boy, y'all don't leave nothing for nobody. But anyway, I do appreciate the Lee Elementary School and,
Yes.
and their presentation. It's always good to see students involved in other things like that. And I do appreciate Mr. Blazer, because I had no idea what Fizbit was. I appreciate that. It was, and Ms. Stallneck, I appreciate you coming and speaking. And hopefully things work out like they're supposed to. And the robotics team, that's some interesting stuff to me. I like to watch BattleBots on TV. Anyway, that's interesting. And Ms. Goods, she does a great job with everything that she does. But that's pretty interesting. Anyway, I don't even know if I ought to say this, but I'm going to. On a personal note, I want y'all to pray for me. I got surgery coming up March 28th.
Okay.
And I don't like being put to sleep and stuff like that. But anyway.
Exactly.
Thank you, Mr. Carroll. Ms. Hagan?
Well, so much has been said, so the only thing left for me to say, and everybody has been thanked, so don't think that I'm not thanking these people that everybody has thanked. But did you all recognize, and we need to compliment the instructor for the CNA class?
Oh, yes.
20 people took that exam.
Yes.
And 20 people passed.
Amen.
So I just really want to compliment the teacher and those students.
Yes.
Thank them very much.
Thank you, Ms. Hagan. We participated, we've begun our training for our master board training on March 9th. I think it's going to be 20 hours, isn't it, Mrs. Joseph, total?
Yes.
Okay. And I appreciate us being able to participate in this. Of course, like Ms. Thompson said, we had a delicious meal from the culinary. We'd like to thank Ms. Mona Kelly for her leadership in that area. I was thankful for Mr. Blazer coming tonight, because even though I'm involved with Fizbit, it's nice to hear it all again. You can never hear too much or learn too much. I'd like to say thank you to Miss Bean, the principal at Lee Elementary School, and Mrs. Smith, longtime teacher at Lee Elementary School, and the boys and girls for what they did tonight. I also attended the legislative session. I got to speak to different representatives and senators. I was in one committee where they were discussing the voucher bill. I also went to the House of Representatives where they were with the companion bill, and they were also having a question and answer session there. I'd also like to recognize Mr. Artiga from the Madison County High School band program. A few weeks ago, they participated in some, I think it's the MPA, is it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, MPA. And I'm very, very impressed with the band at the high school.
Yes.
They'll be having a spring concert in April, which will give you the date later on for that. But I think that wraps it up. Any more discussion? How about a motion to adjourn?
Madam Chair, I move that we adjourn our meeting.
All in favor? 5-0, Becky.